Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. We're just going to take a couple of minutes just while people fly through the door, so just hold tight. It won't be too long. I hope that you've had a great day. I mean, I don't know whereabouts you are in Australia, but it has been the most beautiful, beautiful day here in Melbourne. Oh, and I guess it just makes things a little bit easier, doesn't it? Like, just heading into summer, some bright fresh air and some sunshine just makes everything better. So we're still going to wait a couple more minutes. Yep, people are flying in through the door. Oh, very excited about this evening's chat. I hope you are as well. It's going to be wonderful, wonderful. If you guys are tuning in from other states of Australia, I hope that you're well. We have quite a lot of people on the call this evening who are from high school, and the majority of them are from university and beyond. So we have quite a broad spectrum of guests, which is very exciting because the guys from Bondi Sands are just the most incredible group. It's going to be insane. So, oh, yep, we've still got more people coming in. So, guys, as I said before, welcome to this evening's chat. My name is Kura Antonello, and I'm your host of this very, very exciting event. Career Codes is a brand new event series to the Cool Career, and essentially it is an opportunity for you guys to get deep into the heart of some beautiful brands, some of Australia's biggest brands. So what we're actually doing is giving the opportunity to have a bit of a virtual work experience, because we know that that's something that you cannot do at the moment. So Career Codes has been purpose built to help you navigate that tricky time of the year where you're like, what do I want to do with my life? So tonight we're joined by an incredible group from Bondi Sands. And in a second, I'm going to be bringing them live. But before we get into the chat and into the discussions, I'd love to take you through some housekeeping. Very important rules. So down below in this video, you'll see a button that says ask a question. Now that is your home for the next 45 minutes. So during the chat, if you have any questions that you want to ask, please put them in the Q&A box and we will be able to get through them as soon as the chat's over. Now, from what I understand, the guys from Bondi Sands are pretty happy to answer any of your questions, any of them. So make sure that you ask all the tricky ones that you wish that you could just pick up the phone and ask someone. So put them all in the chat box. Another thing, another housekeeping rule is that the guys from Bondi Sands have been incredibly gracious and offered some amazing prize packs for this evening. So as we're going along, as Career Codes progresses, make sure that you take a snap and share it with your friends. Now, if you do this, you'll go in the running to win one of 10 prize packs. Now, we're heading into summer. We all want that incredible Bondi Sands, Australian glow. So these 10 prize packs will help you achieve that. They are unreal. I wish I could win one myself. But that's a great prize. So all you need to do to enter is you need to take a snap, share it to Instagram, make sure that you're following the Cool Career and Bondi Sands, share it to your stories, make sure you're not on private, and tomorrow morning we will select 10 lucky winners who have won these prize packs. Now, another incredible gift that the team from Bondi Sands have offered all of you is a voucher. So a voucher for you to redeem on their e-com store. Now, towards the end of the chat, you will notice a button pop up below this video, and you'll be able to click that and redeem your offer. Okay, simple. So make sure you get snapping. I hope that you didn't snap the little stuff up that happened at the start. If you do, then you definitely will not win one of the prizes. But no, welcome to Career Code. So let's bring the guys live. I'm going to be inviting Jacqui Bradler, Alexandra Peek, and Jacqui Bradler from Bondi Sands. So let's bring them live. Hello, hey Jacob.
Hey Kura, how are ya?
Good, thank you. Hi Jacqui.
Hi Kura, how are you?
Very well. Have we all got our laptops secured firmly?
Good to Kura.
Hey, you know, it happens. It happens. So, guys, this is the wonderful team from Bondi Sands. I'm going to be giving you a brief introduction into each of them, and then we'll get into the hard-hitting questions. But remember to always ask your questions in the Q&A box below, and we'll get to those later. So first, I'd love for you, so bottom right-hand corner is Alexandra Peek. So Alex, as we're going to be calling her during the chat, she is the CMO, which is the Chief Marketing Officer at Bondi Sands. She has a Bachelor of Business and Commerce, and she's a passionate marketer. Alex is a global thinker and has found her home amongst the leadership team at Bondi Sands. She prides herself in being an advocate for young women in business and empowering women to put in the hard yards and believe that anything is possible. So Alex, welcome to Career Codes.
Thank you.
Below me is Jacqui. So Jacqui Bradler is the Chief People Officer. So we are so pumped to have Jacqui here with us this evening. She's got a wealth of knowledge in regards to recruitment, but everything and anything in between. So Jacqui is the head of HR at Bondi Sands. She works closely with the leadership team and ensures that the best talent with the right skills are brought into the fold and execute the company's growth strategy. And boy, before we go any further, Bondi Sands have had an incredible growth strategy, a global brand now. And all started here in Melbourne, Australian owned, all those good stuff. Okay, next we have Jacob. So Jacob's got a full-on title here. It's the Chief Financial Officer and the COO, which is Operating Officer. Is that right, Jacob?
That's correct, Kara. Yep.
So Jacob's insane. So he basically, I cannot even wait for you to describe what you do, Jacob, because the bio is so long. But essentially, I would love to mention this, that your life motto is talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships. Hello, that is awesome. So guys, welcome to the team. Welcome to Career Codes. Now, to get started, I'm just going to ask each of you some questions in regards to how you got to where you got to. So, Jacob, we might start with you. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and where you went to university, if you did, and how that kind of led to your job at Bondi Sands?
Yep. So, grew up, just in Werribee, small town. Went to school, 60 people in a primary school. So quite a small community, but soon progressed, went to high school, obviously, where I'd done my VCE. That high school was in Geelong. And then after that, worked hard, got my enter score and got into university and done a Bachelor of Commerce degree at Deakin University, majored in accounting, finance and financial planning. And I think at that stage there, I really knew I wanted to be an accountant and work in the accounting space. So 3 years after finishing my degree, the time comes to start applying for jobs. And, as you get bombarded with graduate roles, there's so many different opportunities out there. Is really trying to find what was the right spot for me to be in. So fortunate enough to get a role with Pitcher Partners, was a mid-tier, accounting firm, 500 odd, employees. And, in the graduate intake we had, there was, 40 of us that started together, which was quite good. And I started in the audit division, worked there for 3 years, got my chartered accounting, and then just, decided to go out and kind of, although I loved audit, I thought it was time to go out, help a company grow rather than, be an auditor. That wasn't for me. It wasn't going to be me long term. Got another job in industry and then decided to move over to London. And then over there was fortunate enough to work for some great brands, Topshop, Topman, CNN News, leading the strategic planning side of things for them, and really kind of overseeing the finance from their perspective, the digital perspective. And then timing was right. After 3 years in London, it was time to come back home to Melbourne, and right spot at the right time. The job is what was then a financial controller, the 9th employee of the company. Popped up on LinkedIn. I reached out to Jacqui, and the rest is history. And just fortunate enough, it's coming up to 3 years in about 2 weeks' time. So, I've been part of the phenomenal growth, and, with that growth has led to so many career opportunities opening up, which is, it's been an amazing opportunity.
Wow. Wow. And it's crazy that if you don't mind sharing your age, but it's crazy that, you're 34, aren't you? 34 years of age. Yeah. So
Yep.
what an amazing growth. Thank you for your introduction. Thanks for that. We'll get back into some more questions later, Jacob. Alex, maybe you can kick off as well. So to tell us a little bit about where you started and what got you on the path to where you are today.
Like Jacob, grew up in Melbourne, and I obviously went to high school. I really enjoyed high school. It came to me quite easily. I felt like I didn't have to work too hard to get good results, but that was a bit of a shock come uni. But I really enjoyed, I guess, subjects like English and psychology and business. So when it came to finishing uni, I had what they called a VTAC guide. I'm not sure if they call it the same thing anymore, but it's essentially a book where you can choose what subject or course you want to get into. So I remember just flipping through it and thinking, okay, I like business, I like writing, I like English. And I came across just like a business and commerce degree. And within that, there was marketing and PR as a major. So I looked into that and I thought, okay, from psychology, I like sort of how people think. And I find that kind of interesting. And I saw that as an opportunity within, I guess, the marketing side, but I'm also creative. So I kind of wanted that nice balance between the two. So I put down, I think, 3 different universities. I didn't get my first choice. And I remember the day I found out, I was devastated. And I thought life was over. I may as well just give up, like too hard. But I did get into Monash, which is obviously a great university, and started there. And yeah, uni was interesting. I think at school you have teachers chasing you up, checking you're in class, and you really have to be disciplined at uni to do it yourself. So I think like anyone, there were subjects I loved, there were subjects I didn't love, that I was a little bit slack with and, really had to push myself. But I think for me, that's what I liked about uni. It was, I guess, a really broad horizon of different things from a business side. I think it really helped. I was exposed to a lot outside of just marketing, but I knew in myself marketing was my passion and definitely the path I wanted to go down. When I finished uni, it was sort of like September, October timing when I graduated, and there was just no graduate roles around Christmas time. And I just couldn't bear the thought of another Christmas in retail. So I actually took a sales rep role for a company here in Melbourne, and I lasted probably about 8 months there. I was just not the salesperson, didn't want to go down that path. So quit. Luckily, I lived at home. I actually didn't have another job to go to, which typically people don't recommend, but I had the safety net of family and really just wanted to take my time to find something I loved. From that, I fell into a marketing assistant role at one of the big pharmaceutical companies in Melbourne. And I sort of got that job because of my exposure being on the ground as a sales rep, because this marketing role was creating the tools and everything that the reps needed through the pharmacy chain. So I think that was just something really, I guess, advantageous for me and what helped secure me the role, because I had that understanding of what they sort of need and what they need in their toolkit to do their job to the best of their ability. So that's sort of how I fell into marketing. I was actually made redundant at 23 or 24. That was a shock. I thought I was too young to be made redundant. I thought old people got made redundant. I didn't know it was possible. I don't know why I thought there was an age for redundancy, but at the pharmaceutical company, they lost a big account that I was working on. So myself, my manager, and a few of us within the team were made redundant, and I was shattered. I remember driving home, pulling over because I was just crying and crying, calling my mum saying, I'm not meant to be in marketing. This just isn't working out. Like, what am I going to do with my life? Literally thinking my life was over. So ridiculous now when I come to think of it. But from that, about a month later, I got a call from a contact who I had worked with sort of indirectly at the pharmaceutical company. And they said, look, my friend is hiring within his beauty team for a marketing assistant role. I know you're into all that beauty stuff. Do you want me to put you forward? So I was like, yes, please. And so I got a job at PZ Cousins, and they have various beauty, skin, hair care brands and some home care brands as well. And I joined the marketing team there and knew I'd found my spot. I love beauty. I always have. So that was really my foot in the door to that beauty space. I was there for probably, I think, around 3.5 years. And there was just a few changes that had happened there. There was a restructure. The culture had changed a little bit. And I just found I just wasn't happy. And so I went home one night and I jumped on LinkedIn and I saw a role pop up for a senior brand manager role at Bondi Sands. And there was something came over me. I looked at that job and I was like, this is my job. They just need to meet me and they're going to give me this job. Like, this is in the bag. It's so fine. And I just knew it was mine. And so I obviously went through the process. I was very confident. And I think I got to about round 3, and it was between myself and someone else. And I just put everything I had. I had to do a case study, like a project. Yeah. And I spent like 2 full weekends putting stuff together. And in doing that, I sort of thought outside the square, and I put together like I didn't have to, but I put together like a little influencer kit. So it was like a PR mailer that had like coconut water, sunglasses, a beach bag, like just all cute things. And I just, as we were leaving, I said, look, I'm just going to leave that with you. If I got this job, this is the sort of thing I'd love to, bring to life within Bondi Sands. And at that time, it was just the 2 brand owners and 1 girl on social. So it was literally going to be a team of 4. And I got the job. So that's where I started in Bondi. And then I've been there, it'll be 5 years in January, which has absolutely flown. And I've had so many just career opportunities there and have loved literally every minute of it.
It's thanks for that, Alex, because it sounds like that you're part of you're part of the founding group, really. And we cannot wait to dive into these questions, because you would have had a bird's eye view across all the different leaps and bounds that Bondi Sands have had. So thank you for that introduction. What about you, Jacqui? Can you take us back and just explain about your trajectory and how you've gotten to your current employment at Bondi Sands?
Well, mine actually goes back a little bit further than these young'uns, probably a decade older. But look, high school for me it was a relatively enjoyable experience. It's such a learning time for absolutely everything. You're navigating friendships and conflict and rules, and if anything, school taught me discipline from back in the older years, dealing with authority, the rules that you get, which I did struggle with at times. So you take some of the good rules, leave the bad ones behind. And then you start to, realise your passion and what type of subjects that you are interested in, which for me, had a real love for writing, for English, psychology, legal, which kind of lends itself to HR really at the end of the day, not that I knew it at the time. And so leaving for me and deciding to go to uni was a big choice. I had a real fire in my belly to get overseas. I was dying to travel. And for me, I thought, I didn't even care. My marks were fine. I didn't even care what I did, but I had to go and live abroad. So I remember getting the tram into the city and looking at the career shops at the time and thinking, where do I go? And I was looking up the air hostess job and what do I need to do? I was too short. There was a lot of discrimination back then. I thought, what do I do? And mum and dad at the time said, look, you have to go to university. So that was their decision. And I just went. I applied for journalism. I didn't get in. So my marks took me to a business degree, majoring in hotel management, which, and I thought maybe that's my ticket overseas. Maybe that's something I can do, get into the hotels. So I did that, and look, I had an absolute ball, did a business degree that's really transferable to a lot of industries. And, I wasn't sciencey at school. I wasn't musical. I was sporty, but I didn't know what to do with that. Loved English, loved writing. So I thought this will do. Absolutely loved it. And it taught me some of those core fundamental skills that I use today. So your economics, your market research, all of those different areas, which I absolutely loved. Didn't like the hotel management side at all, but I learned something new. I did cooking for 1.5 years. My husband's happy. So, and look, I actually majored in marketing as well, which I absolutely loved. And then after that, got overseas, lived in London for 3 years, absolutely loved it. Managed to get a gig with the Big Australia, which was BHP in the time, as a young girl. Bought a suit from Primark for, I think, £10 at the time. I have a job. They gave me the job. I never left, and worked my way around into, business support roles, which was really an amazing experience. I worked a lot with men, and what that taught me was how to, if anything, yes, to be a little bit more masculine, but to handle candid and direct feedback, to be a goal setter and work fast and a pace. And it gives you some systems that you can really take for life, and that real professional behaviour. After 3 years, I came back to Melbourne, had no idea what to do. So this is where your life changed. You're like, what do I do at 25, 26? fell into another big organisation. It was a global organisation called Hudson. They're a recruitment agency, and just found my passion for dealing with people and the connection of, you know, working in a job that you absolutely love. So I continued to do that. And then I thought, you know what, it's time to go. I need to do something fun. Fun is one of my values. I wanted to do something exciting. Found a job at RACV in HR, doing HR for resorts and hotels. So you can see how it all comes back to you in the end. Utilised my hotel management degree. And then I decided, you know what, I love HR. I'm going to go and do some further study. I feel like this is my area. I started my master's, and then after that, the world just opened up to me.
Wow.
So I'd worked with one of the co-founders in the past at one of the organisations of Bondi Sands. He was just setting up, gave me a call. He said, you know what, you know, I need some outsourced HR help just to set up a bit of a framework. Can you help me build a team, do some recruitment? You know, I think Alex was there at the time. She was employee number 2. And then since then, we've built the team to close to 50 over the last 4 years. So
Wow.
it's been an incredible journey, and it's one that, you know, I needed to do because I needed that excitement. I'd been in the big companies, but you get to do more when you work in the smaller businesses, and to be a part of that growth is just rare, and you just have to take it when you can get it.
Oh, that's awesome. That is just such the most perfect welcome and kickoff for this session, because, you know, you can see that there's 3 very different paths to get into one organization and one company. So I'm actually going to, let's just keep this really brief. I'm going to go around the screen, and I'd love it if you could briefly explain what it is that you actually do at Bondi Sands. So Jacob, we might start with you. Just you know, even go through like a day in the life of Jacob at Bondi Sands.
Yep. So as CFO, COO, looking after finance and operations. So really having, you know, your finger on the pulse across all areas, because at the end of the day, each decision that people make, regardless of what team you're in, has got financial ramifications. So, you know, being a global organisation, you know, we do have an office in Los Angeles, an office in London. So, you know, at the moment, morning will start at 8 a.m., you know, potentially with a call with the US, whether it's our team on the ground, it's our distributor in New York, our distributor in Toronto, just touching base on how sales, operations, and all things like are going. You know, that probably lasts an hour or 2. You know, one of the sometimes downfalls with working with an organisation is that, you know, you will wake up to 30 odd emails that come through from the overseas entities overnight. So, you know, the next couple hours, 3-4 hours, are spent just answering emails and, you know, getting through them. And then, you know, I guess working remotely, up until lunchtime, you're pretty much on Zoom all day. For some reason, people love the meetings in the morning. So it's kind of back to back on Zoom. You've kind of got a bit of camera exhaustion by the end of it. But you know, lunch will come and quick break, and, you know, working from home's been good. Can pop over in the kitchen and whip something up pretty quick, or if I'm lucky, get it brought to my desk anyway. And then after lunch, again, it's meetings, and, you know, you might say, what are all these meetings? Well, it's meetings with my own finance team to touch base with them, making sure, you know, containers are going on the water with stock, touching base with the MPD team, making sure that new product development is tracking well, and our manufacturer is hitting their deadlines and their targets. It's, you know, touching base with Alex and her team to really understand the marketing objectives and how marketing's tracking in with their spend, how they're tracking with their return on investment, and getting the understanding on that. And, you know, even with Jacqui as well, just looking at our people culture and, you know, our people structure, right, whether it's, you know, recruiting in certain teams, and really looking at, you know, how we can kind of build that, you know, more than just recruiting, but really build that the people culture, and what we can, you know, kind of implement both in Australia and our offices, that really does make us a truly, you know, recognisable brand, and one that, you know, employees really want to work for when they see a job come up. You know, by this stage, it's 5 o'clock, UK's coming online. So the same discussions I had with the US in the morning, you know, you have those same discussions with the UK. So if I'm lucky, you know, by about 6:30, 6 o'clock, I get a wrap up and head to get some dinner.
Jacob, I mean, it sounds like it's 24/7 at the moment, but I mean, you know, thank you for that, you know, that deep dive, because, you know, hey, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know, when I think of someone that looks after finance, I think of someone that's done accounting, someone that's, you know, got their nose in a calculator, you know, hasn't got that rapport with people. But it seems like your role actually requires skills that touch every single department within Bondi Sands. Is that right?
It does, yeah. Like I said before, like every decision that the company makes has got financial ramifications. So it's really about ensuring the team understands those financial ramifications and the benefit it's going to deliver, and just really offering that support to them where they can kind of, you know, somebody to lean on to really kind of, you know, get that support as well. And from the operational perspective, that's, you know, in FMCG, there's 1,000 moving pieces. So it's just really having the processes in place to ensure that those processes are followed, and if they are, then everything should move seamlessly. But you know, we all know in a real world it doesn't work that way. So just really trying to put out those spot fires before they pop up.
Unreal. Wow. Awesome. Thank you. What about you, Alex?
So I lead the global marketing strategy for the business. So under my kind of remit is the creative design team, there's a digital team, the social team, the product development, and just sort of overarching brand. So a day in the life for me is really working cross-functionally. Obviously, COVID has made it a little bit more challenging, and we're all on a lot of Zoom calls pretty much all day. I like to say really connect with the team. It can be like this morning, for example, I connected with a lot of the team for a campaign meeting. And what we do is we go through, okay, what products are coming up? What launches do we need to prepare for? Do we have all the assets do we need? Do we have imagery? Do we have video? What are we doing from a consumer side of things? Are we going to run a competition? What does that look like? What is the prize? There's so many different elements within a campaign. So we have dedicated meetings weekly to run through various projects coming up. It's also connecting with our MPD team, as I work with Jacob on this as well, really just making sure we're running on track with timing. It's looking at samples. I get samples delivered to my house from the team, and I need to quickly try them that night and provide feedback. It's also looking at artwork. What's the messaging on the product? What are we trying to communicate? Is that going to make sense to all our markets? Do we need different labels for the US versus the UK versus Australia? Connecting with Jacqui as well. As you touched on before, we're in a huge sort of recruitment drive almost. There's a lot of growth, and we need sort of even more resource to help us bring all our objectives and goals to life. So I'll have a check-in with Jacqui, and we'll maybe go through any candidates that have applied for roles, and we'll sort of shortlist them, and then Jacqui will come back with interview times. Chatting with my marketing assistant, who is an amazing support. We've just done a few new photo shoots sort of remotely actually. So it'll be going through imagery, choosing imagery for social, for point of sale that everyone will see in store, for the website, connecting with, you know, the digital and e-com teams to look at the website. Is there any gaps? What else do we need? There's honestly, like, there's no similar day. Everything's different, but it's really around all those different functions of social, digital, product, general brand and marketing, and obviously design, reviewing a lot of assets. Yeah, it's always busy. As Jacob said, you kind of jump on at like 8 o'clock. I also connect with our US team, sort of the brand marketing team, make sure they have everything that they need from the global team. And then at the other end of the day, connect with the UK and EU team to make sure they have everything, and just a general check-in. We'll update them. We have a global launch coming early next year, so it means even more we need to be connected to make sure everyone's on the same page about what we're doing, how that's coming to life, and then what everyone's responsibility is within that.
Wow. So Alex, is would you know, if you were creating, you know, you mentioned your big launch.
Yeah.
So if you were coming up with a new sort of campaign within the company, is it just your team that sort of gets involved, or is it a sort of a wider kind of process?
It's really a group effort. It's really cross-functional, and that's what I love about Bondi Sands. You don't just stick to your own area and that's it, and that's all you worry about. For example, you know, we need the MPD team involved because they need to tell us, okay, what are the key claims that we can make? Is there any sort of
sorry, can you just explain what NPD means for everyone?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, new product development.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
New product development. So they'll give us basically a list of information about that product. Then sort of the brand and marketing team will go away and say, okay, we think, you know, these 3 call outs are really strong. How are we going to bring that to life? So then we'll sort of look at, okay, what is the positioning for this product? Is it what sort of customer are we talking to? Is it our core Bondi customer? Is it someone a little bit different? Are we trying to bring someone new into the brand? Are we just delivering something exciting to our existing customers? And then we'll sort of map out, okay, what does that look like for the digital strategy, for the social media strategy? How are we going to get the message out? How are we going to get people excited? How are we going to get people wanting to buy the next Bondi Sands product?
And then you ask Jacob if you can have the money to do that.
And then, correct. And then Jacob says, Alex, calm down with yeah, he reins me in. But and that's why it is so important that we do work cross-functionally. The two brand owners and co-founders are heavily involved with the business, which is amazing. So, you know, we'll chat to them about different things that they want to be across as well. Then we'll work with the design team. They'll come up with some concepts as to how visually everything may look. And there's always, various rounds of changes, and then we'll connect with like our e-com team. They need to be across when is this launching, then the sales team, they'll let us know what retailer has accepted the product, what date it's going to be launching. And then we kind of bring that all together as like a big timeline to map out, okay, when do we need to officially announce it? And obviously Bondi Sands social media is a huge part of the business. It's a really great platform for us. So we sort of need to work out, okay, what date are we going to officially post about this product? When are we going to say this is available? It's available in all these retailers. It's available on all our websites. This is what it is. This is what it's about. This is what it's going to do for you. So many different bits to it.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thanks, Alex. And what about you, Jacqui? Just I can clearly see that it's a very collaborative, organisation. So I'd love to hear what your role is. What do you do from, 9 to 5?
Well, 9 to 5. Yeah. Look, first of all, I get to work with all of these amazing people, and everything that they just discussed couldn't be done if we didn't have a team of amazing people. So, it's my job to remind the business that we need the right team in place with the right skills. We need to grow them, and then we need the right culture. So that's the ultimate optimal conditions to make sure that everyone's happy and passionate and inspired and rewarded and motivated to fulfill these amazing tasks that they do and really perform on a global scale that has happened over the last 2 years. And work as a team, and that comes down to culture, so setting the right environment in place and putting a strategy around that to make sure that we are, pulling all of the right levers to make sure that we do have the best team in place. So no 2 days are the same in the life of HR. The sole HR person in the company, I have just hired a lovely coordinator. So we work with the global team to make sure that they have the right people in place. Could be a lot of screening all around the world. One day I'm talking to people in New York, the next day in London, the next day in Melbourne, Sydney, like you name it. I'm dealing with all the cultures, and it's interesting to hear that we really are all in it together with this pandemic at the moment and see what everyone's going through. So that's an amazing experience. Then I could be putting together development plans for people, researching company benefits so that everyone's feeling rewarded. What else? Looking into team building activities today to make sure we still have a bit of fun. We have been working at home for, coming up to 7 months now. So it is a very well-connected team. It does take its toll on people's well-being as well. So we need to make sure that we're keeping on top of everyone and making sure that they're all happy and healthy.
Yeah, wonderful. And your role, you would also, deal with the tough stuff as well, wouldn't you? Sort of like the almost like, hiring, firing, helping people through their issues, helping people on maternity leave. Is that kind of the scope of, of your role as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. You've got employment law thrown in there for 3 different regions that we're navigating at the moment. And people, I want to have an open door policy. People want to have a chat, especially during this time, during COVID. So yeah, we're definitely there for absolutely everyone, navigating this time for everyone. It could be, someone, has an issue and they just want to bounce off you. They want to learn how to deal with someone in a conflicting arrangement. So yeah, absolutely. It's hiring, firing, everything.
Yeah, well, we've got some really great questions coming through, and but I do, before we get into some of them, I would really love to, a lot of the people that are joining us tonight are either students or maybe they're university students, and they're kind of like, what do I do now? I've finished. What do I do now? So, just really quickly going around the group, starting with you again, Jacob, do you think, to do your role, do you need to have a university or TAFE qualification to do your job. What do you think, in your opinion?
Yeah, you definitely do. A Bachelor of Commerce, something I guess commerce business related. You definitely need that. And I still couldn't recommend, on the job experience, more than a university degree. But unfortunately, you do need a university degree. It's the first thing that people will look for. But you will learn. I personally learned so much more on the job experience than you do out of a textbook. And it's not really, what you can take in a textbook in real life. Sometimes it doesn't really translate the same way. But if you do get that opportunity to do work experience, I couldn't recommend that highly enough.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's tricky now because we're all sort of locked in, well, particularly here in Melbourne. So work experience is kind of a bit of a non-existent thing, but there's still opportunities that you can go out and meet people. And I think that's, that's kind of, or connecting with people as well. So we'll get into that a little bit later. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I think I definitely don't think university is the only way. I think it's really industry dependent. For example, if you want to be a doctor, obviously you need the qualification. I think within like the marketing space, I personally, I did go to uni and I went for, because I didn't 100% know what I wanted to do. I think choosing a broad course is a really good approach. Business and commerce, you can choose within that so many different avenues to major in, and I chose marketing and PR. So I think if you're unsure and okay, I don't know 100% what I want to do, but I feel like I want an extra qualification outside of high school, I think university, TAFE, short courses, there's lots of different options. Because what's interesting is you don't necessarily, not everyone finishes up in the place that they studied. Like sort of Jacqui touched on, I know there's people in the office who have studied different things or who haven't studied and, might have got into a role like customer service and then worked their way through that way. Social media degrees didn't exist. When I was, studying, I remember joining Facebook in a lecture when I was a bit bored. And so I created a Facebook account, and that was, probably 2008, I'm pretty sure. So during that time, there were no social roles. Now there's so many social roles, but I'm not aware of, there probably is, but I'm not aware of any like official qualifications. So in that type of role, people have fallen into these probably through customer service or they're naturally creative people. And so in that space, you don't necessarily need one. I think for marketing, it's great to learn somewhere the fundamentals of marketing, what consumer behavior is, how to put together a marketing strategy, how to, maybe write press releases. There's so many different things that you do need to learn somewhere, but I don't think uni has to be the only way. There's plenty of great TAFE courses and short courses. You have the luxury of the internet now. You can research things and sort of self-teach. And then I think if you can get on the job experience, I agree with Jacob. I think what you learn at uni versus what the role actually is are very different things. And you'll find a lot of what you learned at uni, you don't necessarily apply day to day. But there are certain things that I will sort of think, research and strategy, like we did all that at uni. So you learn sort of the basics, but then also every organization is different and they approach it differently. So that's where on the job is so valuable.
Yeah, you're right. And I think too, even when I went to university and I studied marketing myself, digital wasn't even part of it.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't say that I'm that old, so it's interesting. And even, in the space that you're sort of working in, and even with Jacob and even with Jacqui, things change so quickly now that we're in a digital age. So, sometimes it's even beneficial to potentially, do you know what? I'd love to know how to repurpose content. Here's a short course. There's lots of different things that you can do to keep yourself upskilled. So
that's what Jacqui helps us with. We have a great learning and development sort of budget. Thanks, Jacob. And so we each get allocated basically a budget. And that's exactly for that. How can we upskill? How can I be better in my role?
Awesome.
And I was the same. There was no digital specific course. So I've learned that through, other colleagues and just being exposed to different things. But I haven't officially done a digital course, but there's no reason why I couldn't go and do one if I wanted to.
Yeah, unreal. Thanks for that, Alex. What about you, Jacqui?
Look, I echo all of that. It's not 100% essential. Nothing wrong with going out and getting work experience and then finding out what you actually want to do. But if you know exactly what you want to do and you get the marks to get into uni, it will pay off. It's a fantastic learning experience. You do learn a lot. And, you know, I'm surprised how much I did carry with me from the business degree that I did do, but I didn't study HR. I actually did it later on. And that added great value to, you know, my strategic thinking, critical thinking, and what has worked in the past. What are some of the theories with organisational behaviour? But again, there's other courses you can do. I think, as Jacob said, if you can get some kind of internship, work experience, go and find out what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
Then that'll hold you in good stead.
And I mean, you know, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I finished as soon as I finished high school, not one single person ever again in my life has asked me what score I got.
Yeah, never.
So, you know,
Never. Yeah.
so, you know, there's always room to grow. And, you know, I think too, from a high school perspective, it's really important to think of it as that, you know, it is not the end of the world if you don't actually get into that course that you want to get into as well. But there's always ways around it. And we'll touch on that later with some of these awesome questions that are coming through. So I'm going to dive into some questions, okay, guys? So just because I'm conscious, and we're, you know, I literally think we could sit here for a couple of hours and keep on going. But okay, a question. This is an awesome one. I guess this is directed more so to you, Alex. Who manages your events? Sorry, 1 second. Where is it? Who manages your events, product launches, and activations? Are these outsourced?
No, so we do pretty much everything in-house. However, we engage perhaps our PR agency to help support. Our biggest event we've done was Coachella last year. So I led that with the team. So had, you know, everyone chipped in internally, but then we had like an event company bring in all the different bits and pieces that we need and set up on the day. But then on the day, it was very much myself and PR running around like crazy, making it sure everything was as it should be. So we do predominantly manage it in-house, but with the support of a PR agency.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, another question. All right, now this might even be towards you, Jacqui. Does Bondi Sands offer internships or work experience for students who have just completed their university course?
Yeah, well, look, we absolutely do. We have offered bi-yearly internships for people wanting an internship 3 days a week, and that's been on a global scale. Someone actually in our American team was actually appointed the marketing coordinator position there, so she has had some great success with the internship. Look, at the moment with COVID, you know, I guess everyone working from home, we probably put it on hold for the last 6 months, but we definitely do want to revisit it come January next year. We understand it's a tricky situation for some of the university students looking for work experience, so we are going to invest a lot in a great internship program and open it up to everyone come January, February.
Oh, that's very exciting. And I guess too, this would be a perfect time just to mention as well that, you know, all the guys from Bondi Sands are actually on LinkedIn. So would you be, you know, would you be welcoming students to potentially reach out to you guys and ask questions past this night? If that's,
yeah,
absolutely. Wonderful. Yeah. Now, I think we should go around. I'm going to start with you, Jacob, on this question, and maybe everyone can sort of put their 2 bobs in and answer it, because I think it's just such an important thing to discuss, especially in the, you know, this new COVID world that we're living in. So, any helpful tips on achieving a healthy work-life balance? How do you promote motivation and determination, especially during these weird times where the distinctive line between work and social life is so blurred due to restrictions? So, Jacob, what do you reckon? Any tips on achieving, you know, healthy work-life balance?
I think it's so true. It's probably even harder than it's ever been before with what we're going through now. And I've found myself, you know, the weekdays blend into the weekends, and you really don't know what day it is. So you'll find yourself, you know, working on a weekend because it feels like a Monday. You're kind of restricted with what you can do. You kind of lose that personal, sociable connection.
Yeah.
So it is kind of definitely a real issue at the moment. But I think it gets to a point where, you know, you really do need to switch off. There are other things that matter, you know, your health, you know, your relationships and family as well. So, you know, really trying to get to a point where, you know, it gets to maybe 8 o'clock at night, you shut down your computer and even put your phone away, because, you know, your phone are a huge distraction these days. You subconsciously find yourself scrolling on social media. You don't even know you're doing it, but you are doing it just because you're on the couch. There's nothing else to do. So really kind of putting that away. And, now that the weather's getting nicer, daylight savings is upon us, is getting outside for that fresh bit of air, and doing it with someone else, so you've got that social connection, and you can really, I find that it's a perfect way to clear your mind after a busy day and really unwind, and it really recharges your battery for the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. And what about you, Alex?
For me, it's really about creating a separate space. So I at the start of COVID, I was kind of sitting on the couch with my laptop, and that was not good because I found that I was just shutting it, but I was still sitting there, and that was my evening. So I really struggled to really separate them both. So what I did, I set up a space in our spare bedroom, and as soon as I go in there, that's work mode. And as soon as I come out of it, like, it's personal time. So I find having the separate spaces to be a really good suggestion. And then also, as Jacob said, getting fresh air. Every morning I start with a walk. So I get up that bit earlier. I walk for, depending on the restrictions, it might be half an hour, or, 2 hours if you've got the time. I try and do probably like 45 minutes in the morning, and I might listen to a podcast, I might listen to music, or I might have nothing at all, depending on how I'm feeling. And I find that really just sets me up mentally for the day. I have time to think, and I can ease my way into the day rather than just get up and sit at the computer and you're sedentary. I find that's not the best way sort of to have a positive day. And then after work, I'll again try and get out for a quick walk, or I might do a home workout sort of in these times. Otherwise, I'd go to the gym. I find exercise for me is a huge stress reliever and a huge way to clear my mind. And I think when I'm on top of my exercise and eating well, everything else in my life feels a lot better. And I just have that mental kind of clarity that I need. As we've sort of all said, we have such busy and at times quite long days. If I miss a walk in the morning, I'm just not myself. I feel a bit snappy and a bit stressed and a bit frustrated. I do need that sort of physical movement incorporated into my day.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. What about you, Jacqui?
Oh, look, I love exercise, and I've realised a lot about me during this time that I'm a real social exerciser because my fitness has gone down.
Yeah.
So I'm doing laps around the local oval at the moment. So I'm the same. I have to incorporate something in that. I feel $1 million after I've done that. I am navigating homeschooling at the moment with 2 young girls. So that's it's been entertaining, to say the least. So yeah, look, I lock them out. That's how I get a bit of work done, and they're out there. I've got a great support network. My husband is amazing. He's been a great support, but we try and create a real culture of health and well-being, provide some good benefits for the team. Throughout August, we supplied everyone with healthy meals to make sure everyone's eating well. We're a company with some great big growth targets, so we respect that everyone's working hard, but you can't do that if you're not healthy and if we're not looking after their well-being. So you have to switch off. You have to set your own boundaries. As Jacob said, you have to put the phone away because people can get us 24/7. When you're in those roles, they literally are. But as I say to people, you don't have to answer. It's okay. Look, you set the boundary and go to sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow. So look, you just got to set the boundaries. I think that's key.
And a quick show of hands, guys. What night is tanning night? Tonight.
Mine's actually Wednesday night. I do a Wednesday night. So then on Thursday I'm tanned, but if I want to do an extra dark coat, I do Thursday night as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's dedication, Alex.
Yeah.
I tell you. I mean, I'm just a slap it on your legs kind of girl. But what about you, Jacob?
I'd tan my wife on a Thursday. That's probably about it. Once you can't reach her back.
Right, that's another session, Jacob. Okay. Okay, let's get back into some of these questions because there's some really good ones. I've got some really great. Yeah, so this is a wonderful one. How has COVID restrictions impacted the business here and overseas? What do you think of that, Jacob?
I guess it was quickly thrown upon us. One day you're in the office, and actually I was traveling back from the UK office, and I got into the country a day before you had to quarantine for 14 days. So it kind of really threw us into I guess an unknown. We didn't know. So everyone was sent home globally too, like all our offices. There was just kind of the world come to a halt. No one kind of predicted it. No one expected it. We had to really quickly learn to pivot and really I guess protect the business and kind of really from a financial perspective make sure that we're limiting it. So we pretty much turned off all our marketing, all our PR, all our ambassadors, and not just to save money, just because the messaging had changed. People weren't worrying about tanning, they were worrying about coronavirus. You know, people weren't getting ready for a holiday. Those holidays were cancelled. All that type of stuff had kind of, you know, we just really had to kind of pause everything and regroup. And what we learned was, you know, it opened up a huge opportunity for our e-commerce side. And, you know, our messaging went from get ready for your holiday, get ready for your night out with the girls. So, you know what, pamper yourself at home. You know, how can we do that? You know, feel good at home. Everyone's, you know, in this unknown, especially people, you know, living on their own. It was a hard thing to kind of grasp when you've gone from, you know, having no restrictions on your life to effectively being a prisoner in your own house. So it's really about giving that, you know, and that's our motto of our brand, is giving that confidence to our consumers. And that's what we wanted to continue to do, and do it at home, whether it was, you know, it was just feeling good about yourself without, you know, our luxury, our bath products and our, you know, body products, or with it, you know, just putting a tan on and just feeling good when you're chilling and watching Netflix. And that was our real key messaging. So all our comms changed, and, you know, we did see a really good uptake in that. You know, and it really did compensate that all the shops and all the retailers were closed and foot traffic was completely down. So, you know, that was, you know, it allowed us to pivot, but yeah, it did catch us all by surprise. And we saw, you know, in the UK, we're supplied on ASOS, Pretty Little Thing, Amazon, and we saw those sales just go through the roof, which really helped offset, you know, the major stores being closed. So, you know, we did our best to pivot, and, you know, like we keep on hearing everyone's in it together. So I was just kind of trying to, you know, prove, you know, I guess financially proof the company. And we know that when we got out of it, we're going to be better for it, and just, you know, really now making sure that we continue to grow the company as, you know, as the lockdown eases.
Wonderful. Oh, thanks for that. Because yes, you do have quite a huge global distribution channel, and you know, and it's hard to sort of get across on this short call, you know, just how big the expansion is, you know, from like what you said, Jacqui, you know, a team of 50 people. So it's really is quite remarkable. I've just got a couple more questions before we wrap up, because I know that we're probably going to go to the full hour. So I have a brilliant question here. I'm going to direct this to you, Alex. Because I think that we have to tell ask Zoe's question, which is, when Bondi Sands burst into the scene, they had a very strong influencer strategy that wasn't being implemented by many tanning brands with a social media presence. How do you continue to differentiate yourself from your competitors? And in comments, she's been a Bondi babe since 2014.
Well, thank you for your support. That's great to hear. I think, yeah, when the brand started, and even before I joined, when it was just the two owners, I think it came a lot down to investment and budget available. I think social media was a free tool. And, you know, as Zoe mentioned, not a lot of brands were doing it. So it was kind of this untapped little resource. From there, the guys appointed a social media manager, and she really helped create the brand tone of voice and really started kicking off that community, which we're so proud of with Bondi Sands. And I think that's something we've continued to grow and evolve, really, that community sort of tone of voice, the opportunity to get involved with different things, the way we try and excite our community when we have new launches. We've got a private Facebook group called Babes Who Bondi, which is really just like a safe space and really positive space where everyone can ask questions, get opinions, share photos, and just really have really positive conversation. And I think Bondi Sands has a very distinctive brand personality, and it's a very positive brand, and we're very authentic. I think we've never, even since I've started, we never worry about what competitors are doing. We're true to our brand. We stay in our own lane. And we just know our customers so well. We know what they want. We even know what they want before they know what they want. We always try and preempt, okay, how can we excite them? What is their routine? What product is going to make their life easier or better? How are we going to excite them? That's why we started doing all these cool ambassador trips and competitions, because our community is an extension of our team. And so really having that two-way conversation is, I think, what Bondi Sands does particularly well. And that's something we definitely try and nurture, and that we always do focus on. I think it's always customer first. We're always listening. We're always monitoring our comments. We're responding. And we really just want to add value to our community's life. And I think people can see how authentic and genuine the brand is. And I think that's why we are number one.
Yeah. Amazing. That's just, it's really exciting. It sounds like such an exciting place to work as well. Just before we continue on and end, I would like to remind everyone that we do have a brilliant competition that's going on at the moment, where Bondi Sands have actually given us 10 amazing tanning packs to give away. All you need to do is take a snap of yourself at Career Codes, share it to Instagram, make sure that you're following Bondi Sands and the Cool Career, and we will pick 10 lucky winners to give these prize packs to tomorrow. So, keep on snapping away. Now, just before we go, I would love to, because there is so many more questions in the chat box, and I'm sorry, guys, we won't be able to get through to all of them. But maybe what I will do is I will collate them all and send them to the guys, and then we'll have a bit of a blog post, just a bit of a wrap up on this session as well, because there's so much goodness that's come through. But just really, really quickly whip around the group. What is the best piece of advice that you would have given yourself back when you're 17 years of age, Jacob? What's one piece of advice that you would have given yourself?
Yeah, it's a funny one, because I'm pretty content with how things have turned out. So I don't know if I'd change anything, but I do think it is important to really to be to be focusing the studies, because you do need it. You do need that degree to help you with a professional career, if that's what you want to do. So it's not the be all end all. Like, it's not you need to sacrifice your whole life to focus to your studies. You want a work life balance, and I think that's the key. It is work life balance, and just be determined. If it's something you want, make sure you put your mind to it, because if you do put your mind to it, anything's possible.
Oh, that's so good. Wow. You know what? I don't think that Jacob would have gone on any different paths, though, because it sounds like you had a really awesome journey. So thank you for that. What about you, Alex? What's one piece of, good advice that you would have given yourself back in high school?
Probably just to trust the process and be resilient. I think things are never going to work out exactly the way you want them to. You're not going to finish uni or finish school and land your dream job necessarily right away. There's so many different ways to get somewhere, and I think being open to that and being okay with things being a bit different. I think, I didn't necessarily get the course that I thought I wanted, but the course I wanted put me in good stead for where I've ended up. I was made redundant quite young, and I thought that was the end of the world, but that put me on the path of beauty, which is what I ultimately always wanted and that I wasn't in. So I think it's just relaxing, taking the pressure off yourself. I think we're our own worst critic. And just, backing yourself, being confident and being resilient. If something doesn't work out, that's fine. Find another way. Try another avenue. Don't just give up and throw it all in, because I just believe things work out the way they're meant to. If you don't get a job, that job probably wasn't for you. Your job is coming. It might take a little bit longer, and things can take longer. And also not to compare yourself. I think if you have a friend on a similar path and they've got this amazing job and it's worked out quickly for them, that's great. Be happy for people, but don't let that think that you're not in a good spot and that you've done something wrong, because you're just different. Everyone has their own sort of journey, and I really think it is just relaxing and trusting the process.
Oh, nothing more to say. We could have ended it there. Thanks, Alex. What about you, Jacqui?
Oh, so similar, really. And I'm similar to Jacob. I could go back and I wouldn't change a thing. I have absolutely no regrets. And the way I approached it was, life is an adventure. Just go out and grab it, and everything that you go through, consider it experience. It's life experience and meeting new people. It'll open new doors. I recommend saying yes to opportunities, because you never know where it will take you. And just remember that you're never stuck. So even if you get into a uni course that perhaps you don't like, you can take another stream, you can defer, you can let it go and work, but just remember you're never stuck. You will find your way. It will work out how it's meant to work out in the end. Everything's just an experience.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's so good. I mean, it's just such amazing advice, that everyone needs to hear at this time of the year. We're heading to the end of the year. We're nearly, you kind of think that we're nearly out of this, and, that's just the perfect sort of lick of advice that everyone needs to know that, this isn't the end. Everything moves, everything's fluid, and especially your careers. And, I think too, even Alex and Jacob and Jacqui, think back to how many jobs you've probably had up until this point of your life. You could probably count them on one hand, or maybe two. So there's always change and opportunities. Guys, I cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight for Career Codes. There are so many questions that have come through that we haven't gotten to, but we will shoot them through to the guys at the team. Just before we follow up as we end, Jacqui, if anyone here potentially believes that they are a perfect candidate for Bondi Sands, where is the best place to check out the jobs that you may have coming up?
Oh, look, I love LinkedIn. I'm a big lover. I feel like it's my Bible. Get yourself a profile, dazzle it up, put everything on there and tell your story. I'm looking for someone who I can see them in their profile, not the photo. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. Reach out to me. I'm always happy to have a chat. I speak all day. I'm a people person, so feel free to ask for advice at any time.
It seems like you're a reader as well, Jacqui. There's
What do you mean?
You got a whole library behind you.
That's what it looks. It's a facade.
Now, guys, before we leave, I would like to remind you that down below this video, there is the button now for you to click through and to get your free Bondi Sands offer. We will also be emailing this through to everyone after the call with the replay as well, so you can watch the entire thing from start to finish. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us this evening. Thank you to Jacob, Alex, and Jacqui, some of the team from Bondi Sands, you know, and have an amazing night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
No worries. Bye. Have a good night.
See ya.